Welcome, Bravidius, to Enter the Gungeon. I'm back. Hello, welcomers. I'm going to be trying something new now. I recorded this video originally during my daytime hours whilst my family was out and about, and there was just too much background noise to do commentary over it. So now I am in the process of integrating voice over top of this recording. Now, this recording went very well, and I thought it was important to share it with you, but I also wanted you to be able to hear my thoughts on the subject whilst you were watching the video. Here we finally get to the dragon fight and do very well. We managed to take care of him, actually, but that ends up being only the beginning of a bit of a longer run. This is the 5th floor that this video started on. I cut out the first 4 floors. I didn't expect to do quite as well as I did. As you can tell, I had 9 heart pieces at the beginning of this level. I got an item called Spice, and I got that twice. And that increases your heart containers the first two times you use it, as well as your power and I believe your movement speed. I bought a couple of extra blanks on the previous floor so that I could use them against the dragon to increase my chances. And you'll see here that I managed to do alright. He hit me a lot more than I was happy with, but it's a good way to at least proof of concept that I can defeat the dragon. I did have the backup gun, and I was using the stinger. The backup gun shoots from behind you, the same thing that you shoot from in front, without using extra ammo. So I only got the explosion from the rocket that went forward, but the bees from behind me were also attacking the dragon, and that caused a lot of massive damage, which helped to bring his health down fairly quickly. I didn't use blanks as efficiently as I might have. That could have helped a lot towards the last phase when there's all the rolling. That roll went very well, as you can tell. I'm learning a lot of his attacks, even though I've only encountered him a couple of times myself. I've seen a couple other fights against the dragon, so I've been trying to learn his patterns just a little bit better. There he goes into the second phase. I thought that his bullets would go away when he went into his second phase, but they didn't, so I didn't use a blank when I should have. I probably could have saved myself some trouble by using a blank here as well. You can see that I'm learning the roll patterns, but I haven't quite got them down pat. And it took me a couple of cycles to get through him. I believe I took him down on the second cycle, but you can tell that I ended up with some heart damage. What really took me a long time, you'll notice we're only a little ways into the video so far. What took me a long time was getting to the forge to build the bullet that will destroy the past. Now, I had already turned in 3 of the 4 pieces. Right here I unlocked a couple of new items: the gun soul, the dragon fire, which is a new gun, the obsidian shell casing, which is in the skull of the dragon himself, and then once I got to the forge and turned in the other piece, that actually took me the whole rest of the 5th floor. I had hoped that I would find the forge relatively quickly so that I can move on to trying to defeat the Marines past, but it didn't work out that way. I actually ended up going through the entire rest of the 5th floor, and the forge, I believe, was quite literally the last floor, the last room that I got to on this floor. I prefer to do my commentary live so that I can react to what's happening on the screen a little bit more immediately. I'm never going to record commentary after the fact and not tell you that it's after the fact. I will make sure that you know at the beginning of a recording that I'm overlaying the video. I just prefer not to be disingenuous with you guys. It's just a lot easier to record the gameplay during the day sometimes. But it's very difficult to record the audio whilst other people are awake and moving about in my house. I don't have a proper studio set up just yet, and that may be quite a while, so. This may be the new normal for Gungeon videos, although there will be times when I can record them in after hours. I work fairly early in the morning, and so that creates a situation where if I'm going to use my margin time at the end of the day after the girls go to bed, I really have to make sure that I still get enough sleep for work. Snakes on a Gun I unlocked by finishing one of the hunts. I had a hunt for the Iron Maidens, or the Lead Maidens. And this gun's actually pretty cool. I think I show it off in this next room. It's similar to the Membrane and some of the other poison-based shotguns. It's not the best gun that I've seen, but it does seem to do a fair amount of damage. And the backup gun did add some interest to it. What I like about it is it does not leave pools on the ground like the Membrane does. And that means that I'm not endangering myself by shooting poison. That metal block that I poisoned there is immune to all damage types, so even though you can set it on fire or poison it, it doesn't actually take any damage. And the only way to make those inert is to defeat all the enemies on the level. This guy summoned the skeleton that I was fighting. Had I defeated him, it would have knocked the skeleton out, and he would have tried to summon another one. Sorry, he did try to summon another one, but if I had taken him out, I could have just dealt with the skull. I used the stinger here, partially because I know that when you go to the past kills, you don't use any of the guns that you have. You have default weapons that you're given to defeat the given past. So I knew that if I didn't use the ammo here, I would lose it anyway. So I might as well make it as easy as possible to get through the level. I actually got quite worried that I wasn't going to be able to even get to the forge, and so I was going to give up my completion of the game just because I wanted to do the extra bit with the obsidian shell casing. That's not quite what caused me the completion of the game, and you'll see later on what happened. I did in fact get through floor 5 of the Gungeon without dying, though. The giant hammer of death rooms are no joke, because it seems like they always know exactly when and where to hit, just to make sure one of the bullets hits you. It's a little harder to dodge. Tried to rely on bees there a little bit, and I'm always finding myself hitting one to switch to my starting pistol. It drives me nuts because I end up not being very efficient that way. I think this is where I found the forge, but it's not. Yeah, this jammed guy gave me a bit of trouble. I don't think he managed to hit me, but he certainly startled me a bit, just because he has so much health. Went pretty well all in all, I'd say, this run. I may upload this video with commentary and without commentary. The reason for that being that if you just want to watch the run itself without any of the quote spoiler stuff, you'll be able to do so that way, and then I'll be able to have the commentary for those of you that want my insights on what happened. So there's the obsidian shell casing. and she builds you the bullet that can destroy the past. And then you can pick it up. Now, just crafting it unlocks 2 extra items, the Alpha and Omega bullets, both of which make the first or last bullet in any magazine do extra damage. I think it's double damage. One thing you can do is if you have something like the crossbow that only has a single shot before you reload, if you happen to get the Alpha and Omega bullet item, you're now doing 4 times damage, or you're at least getting the damage bonus twice on that particular shot. So every shot from your crossbow does double bonus damage. I'm not exactly sure how the numbers work on that, but I managed to get both of them on the run that I did after this, but didn't get very far. And the crossbow was just doing an enormous damage. I just wasn't being as cautious as I ought to have been. Now here you come up to the chest to find that gun that can defeat the past. And you aim it at yourself to rewind yourself to the past. And then you proceed to your own past and try to destroy it. I find this particular past, I had trouble with it. I didn't manage to defeat it the first time, but I did, interestingly enough, manage to unlock the Paradox achievement by going back in the past and then dying. That's a bit gruesome. It's part of the game, but it's the Marines past. It kind of makes sense. Kind of an alien reference here. Abyssal Fiend interdimensional horror. Those tendrils are fairly easy to dodge, but then what looks like open air areas are actually poisonous. So if you stand on them, you have to keep moving so you don't get poisoned. And you have to dodge roll to clear the poison off. This attack is just like the Bullet Kings, except that the circle of bullets travels a bit faster. What really created an issue was this stage of the fight. All these little extra monsters that spawned, I just didn't have a good way of dealing with them efficiently. I maybe should have focused on the main bad guy himself, but instead I went with trying to take out all of the ads, that is to say the extra creatures, and I ended up dying very shortly. I had been hoping to defeat a past during the run, but that was probably a little overly ambitious given that I'd never seen this boss before. I do want to take the time to thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a lovely day.